Hey everybody, this is So Many Sequels. I'm Josh.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
And it is time for the, fourth annual So Many Santas Christmas Holiday Extravaganza, where we talk about Christmas movies.
Yep, we kind of ditch our normal rules and we just do, we each pick a Christmas movie and then we review it for you people.
Because we like Christmas. We like Christmas.
Obviously, and the movies based around it.
Yep.
My God.
So take a break from your Spotify Wrapped and hang out with us.
Please.
Yeah. You may have noticed last week we put out our Christmas debate where we each kind of go over our rules of what we think makes a Christmas movie. That was a fun episode. We did that last year. Decided to play it again this year. So if you missed it, or if you just need to be refreshed. So that's, I guess, technically the kickoff of the month. Yeah. But now we're going to get into some new episodes. And this week, we're going to talk about David's pick, which is the 2008 movie Four Christmases, starring Vince Vaughn, Reese Witherspoon, and a pretty, honestly, kind of impressive cast of supporting actors. So we'll start with why, David, did you pick Four Christmases?
First off, I think I'd like to apologize for picking Four Christmases. It's just one of those ones that I knew existed. And so I thought, I like Reese Witherspoon.
Sure.
I've been entertained by Vince Vaughn. And I know, when we did our great Christmas debate, we talked about, some Christmas movies that were out there for Christmas and things like and Holiday and Last Christmas and these sort of romantic comedy Christmas movies. And so I just kind of thought, well, let's do one of those. And I like Reese Witherspoon. Let's do it.
Have you ever seen it before?
No.
Okay.
No, really wish I had now because I probably would not have picked it.
Wow.
Okay.
So,
talk about it some. Expand on it.
There's a tease of my review. You want me to just start with my review?
Sure.
Yeah, you picked it. Go for it.
Didn't really like it.
Okay.
That's not to say that I didn't chuckle. That's not to say I didn't laugh from time to time. The premise of the movie, as you may or may not know, is that Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon are a couple, and both of their parents are divorced. And so it's a kind of a crazy extended family group. And so every year they come up with a fake reason to not go to their family Christmases and instead go on a nice, beautiful summer like summer during the winter vacation. And this year they get caught out because of something that most likely would not happen, which is on live TV. A reporter sticks a microphone in their face and says, "So, are you bummed about the travel?" Which I'll get into my other thing with that later too. But and then the movie from there is just kind of a cavalcade of like incidents and Christmas-y hijinks and Vince Vaughn quirk, and while I appreciate people like Jon Favreau and Tim Mcgraw showing up, overall the movie did not keep me. It's kind of, I don't know if I would have found this funny in 2008 when it was released when I was 18. But I can tell you that, like, I think I've outgrown like 85% of this movie at least. I got one good chuckle when Vince Vaughn's dad said, "I don't want to speak ill of your mother on Christmas, but she's a traitorous whore," or whatever it was.
Common street whore.
Or common street whore. Exactly.
That's my favorite line as well. That's why I remember.
That did make me chuckle. And I do appreciate a lot of the character acting from Mary Steenburgen and Kristen Chenoweth. And like I said, Tim Mcgraw, Jon Favreau. Trying to think of who played Vince's mother. But
Spacek.
Thank you, everybody. And so I appreciated those, but overall, just a lot of the comedy aspect of it really fell flat for me. So the only thing left was the romantic part, which to me just felt very signposted. You knew how it was going to end the whole time, or what was going to go down. So I don't know. I didn't love it. I'll be interested to see what you guys thought. I'll leave it there for now.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not I'm not upset that you picked it. It's not a great movie for sure, but I did enjoy it for what it was. It's got some decent laughs. It's not overly long. And one thing I like about it is Vince Vaughn typically plays a kind of an unlikable jerk in a lot of movies. And what helps him stand out here is everyone else's family is actually worse than him. So you've managed to feel for him when he's getting beaten up by Jon Favreau, or having to tell his former childhood best friend why he can't be friends with him anymore when he's in love with his mother. It's all kinds of fun stuff like that. It also hits some Christmas hijinks that I enjoy, like you mentioned earlier. It's got one of my bonus check boxes, which is a bumbling man falls off the roof. Check. You got that nailed down. It's even better when the only thing holding them from the ground is one wire. That happened. So I thought it was fun. It's kind of like it fits one of those other kind of lesser seen Christmas movie tropes of the family or couple who is almost anti-Christmas and then gets thrown into it at the last minute. It reminds me of Christmas at the Cranks, although this movie is better than that one, believe it or not, for anyone who's not seen that. Of course you haven't. That is acceptable. It is very acceptable. So
Christmas in the Cranks, the other one with Tim Allen.
Yeah, it's Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis, and they are also going to spend Christmas like on a tropical vacation until they last minute find out their daughter's coming home, and now they have to have a Christmas at the last second. So it's similar.
There's another one from that era that I often confuse with Christmas with the Cranks, and that's one with Matthew Broderick and Danny DeVito.
We'll get into that. We can get into that later.
So all that to say, I don't have a lot to dog on it, just because it is what you expect. I think it's like a slightly raunchy more adult aimed Christmas, anti-Christmas family comedy. So I'm not gonna put it in my yearly rotation.
What about you, Garrett or Andrew?
It's a bunch of characters that I don't like doing Christmas stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a sympathetic character in it. Like, I don't like anybody. They're all kind of trash. However, having said that, I do like when bad things happen to trash people, and that does happen a lot in this movie. It is just kind of a modern day bumbling idiot Chevy Chase type thing where everything that could go wrong does go wrong. And, it's just hijinks is a good way to put it. But it was funny. I did laugh. I don't necessarily care for the overall message it sends, though. The message that I took away from it is you are not happy unless you're married with a family, and there is no happiness for you outside of that. You might think you're happy traveling around and being with someone that you love, but you're not. You're not happy if you're not married and don't have a kid. What are you thinking? That was basically everybody in the movie except for Robert Duvall, who was a miserable old man, Vince Vaughn, and Reese Witherspoon. Everybody else was like, what? And so for me, I was like, I don't like the message, but I do like when bad things happen to you. So I will laugh at that.
Andrew, what about you?
Ditto. No, I found the film. I'm kind of in y'all's boat. I didn't really care for anybody in this movie, like no one. And it's Christmas hijinks. I get it. It's kind of I feel like this is one of those movies that's like kind of a throwaway Christmas film. It's got a throwaway plot, whatever. In saying that, I will say that almost every supporting character to me at least was memorable. The one not memorable was Sissy Spacek and her lover. And like the brothers, Vince Vaughn's brothers, I thought they were great. I thought they were funny. And I thought they were just the most obnoxious people in the entire world. Jon Favreau steals the show for me.
As he
And I
normally
think
does.
and he normally does, and he's great at it. He's great in this role. I absolutely loved him every time he was on. I did not expect to see Tim McGraw as,
No one
like
expects
Tim
to see Tim
McGraw,
McGraw.
an underrated actor.
Yeah.
an underrated actor. Yes, and he
He's
probably
like the
needs to be
Spanish
more.
Inquisition. No one expects Tim McGraw.
He sneaks in and is good, and then you're like, oh, that was Tim McGraw.
Yeah,
What
But,
can't
like-
he do?
I mean,
But,
he
like-
has one of the best sad faces when he looks up because he knows like that's way over that $10 limit. He just looks like
The
he
disappointment.
just
is
looks like a
palpable.
man who's just had his dog shot. You know.
but like yeah, there was a few times when I genuinely like heartily laughed. It wasn't just like, oh, that was stupid, that was funny. No, there's parts in this movie that are actually really funny. Did I like it? Nah. I mean, did I like the movie? It was okay. Would I put this on my Christmas list to watch every year? No.
Is
I
it
think
a
it's
Christmas movie?
I think it's a great.
It's Christmas
Yes.
themed.
Yes.
It is definitively a Christmas
Also, I just want to call back to that, Andrew. I saw that you posted on. Somebody asked whether or not Die Hard was a Christmas movie, and you said yes. And I would love to remind you that that clip that we played in every single video is you admitting that Die Hard is Christmas themed. Yes, Christmas movie. No, I just want to remind you that that is that clip of you saying that about Die Hard. So I just want to remind you of that
And we have you on audio
on audio, admitting it. So.
and video,
Lives
actually.
So
Yeah.
next time you're asked that question, you answer it with, "Is it Christmas themed?" Yes.
Yes.
The Christmas
I think
movie
that,
now.
but back to Four Christmases, I think that it's a good movie to have if you're having like a long holiday family Christmas party and you need a never-ending loop of Christmas movies to be on in the background. And I think that is that this movie fits in that category of, let me just throw like a shuffle playlist of Christmas movies on in the background while people hang out and do Christmassy things. I think it's perfectly fine for that. For me, other people probably love it, and good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not miserable, but it's passable.
If
I'm
you
just
love
gonna
it,
let you all know for the record, I'm still gonna watch Die Hard every time around Christmas time.
That's fine.
So
that's
There you
all
go.
right. I'm gonna
Why
watch a
wouldn't you?
Christmas movie called The Santa Claus. Yeah, there was a lot about the movie that really seemed weird to me. It seemed weird that clearly everybody in this movie was basically, I mean, with the exception of maybe Vince Vaughn's mother character, but that could be explained away, was clearly supposed to be like, I think, Southern stereotypes with like super redneck family, super religious Christian family, and then kind of like rich upper city. But it all takes place in San Francisco. Like, and they're just like driving around San Francisco for the whole movie to these different places that clearly could not have been more I don't know, just it didn't fit to me. Also, I don't know. I want to speak on something in which I feel like I'll have a somewhat unique perspective. The church scenes
Uh-huh.
could
Go for it.
not have been more confusing and contradictory.
Sure.
Because Mary Steenburgen, right? Terrific actress, love her to death. She's great in everything she does, right? She goes on this whole spiel about how they're not going to, because she's with Pastor Phil, Dwight Yoakam, they're not going to do material commercial Christmas. They're going to give a gift of words,
Sure.
which could not be more opposite in terms of your presentation than Dwight Yoakam's clearly undersized mega church, which is like all flash and all pizzazz. This guy buys Cadillacs. All right. It's like those two threads don't connect. It's like they wanted to have the humor of a little girl being upset that she's not going to get presents. They didn't care that it didn't match with the fact that they tried to put a mega church in a half gymnasium. Dwight Yoakam's church was like so denominationally confusing as well, because they had this it was clearly Protestant, right? But they had this whole big like obsession with definitely putting on this mother like Mother Mary and this nativity play, which I would you would never see in a church that presents itself with like what was that? What did they come out to? He came out to like the dun dun dun, like the Lakers.
Oh yeah, it was the Gary Glitter, which is a problem in all of itself.
He came out to that, which one you could maybe hear somebody playing that at a church, but if you did, there would be no nativity play. I can guarantee you that those churches are all about fortune cookie style lessons that you get at the end of the day. So that was very like off-putting to me. It just kind of seemed like somebody in Hollywood wanting to kind of like make fun of religious ceremonies, but clearly picking what they knew from like watching a couple megachurch TV shows.
Well, my first takeaway from that, as someone who doesn't have that same kind of perspective as you, it has deeper roots in it, was that did not seem like a church that would appreciate what Vince Vaughn was doing with his improv skills. Like, I feel like they would have been very offended that he was not seeming to take it seriously. And I think they would have turned on him rather than embraced him.
Yeah. Because they did.
We could go in a whole
That's
different
true.
podcast direction of the congregations of megachurches, but I would think that maybe in fact they don't take their religion seriously at all.
Yeah. That's the confusing part. That's what I'm trying, and that's what I'm saying is like based on Mary Steenburgen's presentation of Pastor Phil as this sort of like anti-commercialism type pastor, it should have been like a mega conservative church, like small, ultra conservative. We don't celebrate, there's no Santa Claus, there are no Christmas trees. This is about the birth of Christ or whatever, right? So I don't know. I don't want to get into a whole thing about it, but that just to me it was like a breakdown watching it. Like that's how bored I was with the plot. Was now I'm breaking down whether or not the scenes are accurate.
Sure.
So
what stuck out to me as something I couldn't buy is the idea of Reese Witherspoon just like, you know what, I'm just gonna take a pregnancy test just cause.
Yeah, it seemed kind of
just for fun because I saw them in the bathroom. I'm just gonna take one. It was a weird motivation, and then obviously she wasn't pregnant at that time, so it's like why is that there? Just to force her to have a reckoning about wanting a baby in the future. It was very weird, and the chase then it had to turn into a chase scene with the kids hiding her magic marker from her.
Well, and it's all juxtaposed to I this is gonna sound really modern woke, but it's all juxtaposed to this gathering of moms like fat shaming their daughter, or aunts, and talking about how she used to be big and she went to camp and she only lost 3 pounds, and how she had like lesbian tendencies in high school. It's like all very weird. It's like they're just putting down on this girl who I think what was her name, Kate, who you could say, even though it seems strange that she would just randomly take a pregnancy test, is having like a moment of consciousness. She's like having a moment where she goes thinking to herself, am I just kind of a selfish person who doesn't care about anything other than my own happiness? And she's like looking at babies and thinking to herself, do I want more than just this superficial thing I've been doing for the last few years? Meanwhile, it's like, she used to be a fat kid. She might have been a lesbian. Whoa, right. Edgy stuff.
When your whole angle is that they dislike family gatherings so much because their families are awful, you have to sell that they're awful, right? And so then it's hard to then take the awful family and make them also be an inspiration to potentially start a family of your own, because they are terrible to be around. I think they hit that home, but then exactly, I don't know how that convinces you then to maybe want a child one day.
It just smacks to me of like a lack of real creative writing too, because I feel like you can make them annoying and awful to be around in a better way than how they went about it with some of them.
What do you got, Andrew? You got anything else?
Not really. Like, I mean, like, I don't. When it comes to like Christmas movies and whatnot, they all kind of follow like a same arc almost. And this to me follows the same similar arc, whereas like it just doesn't. It's just like it's just kind of run of the mill to me, and that to me just doesn't like that to me. There's like nothing interesting about the plot per se. Yes, I did find the mega church thing just a little bit off-putting. But yeah, that's about it. I don't really have much to add to this other than what I previously said. It's funny. I got my laughs. That's about it.
All right. Well, then let's move right along then, shall we?
Okay. Hey, quit giggling back there.
He found it funny.
To as we move on, we're moving on to the box office stats. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As we move on, I will say that this is one of those situations I talked about last year where I feel like the romantic comedy aspect kind of outweighs the Christmassy part, because ultimately they don't really get together because it's Christmas or anything like that. Christmas
No,
is
I don't
just
even. I
the
don't think this
reason
one
that they
fits.
went through this.
I don't really think this one fits romantic comedy because they start out basically together. Getting together isn't the conflict.
But at the same time, anyway, let's move on to the box office stats. So, Four Christmases with Reese Witherspoon and Vince Vaughn opened way back in November of 2006. It opened on the Thanksgiving weekend. In its opening 3 days, it brought in 31 million. But when you extend that out to the Thanksgiving Day 5-day weekend, 46 million and a number one finish for Four Christmases. Actually, a pretty solid opening weekend. Number two that weekend, you had Twilight in its second week, brought in 39.
Stellar.
Brought in 39 million over its 5 days. And then at number three, you had Bolt in its second weekend, brought in 35 million. At number four, we just talked about this one recently. Quantum of Solace was in its third week, and it brought in 27 million. And number five, Australia brought in 20 million.
Yeah.
Opening week. If you go back to the year of 2008, you're killing me, bro. All right. If you go back to the year of 2008, it's actually not too bad of a finish for a Christmas time movie. Four Christmases was the 21st highest grossing movie of 2008 with a grand total of $120 million domestic. That's just behind The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. The number one movie of 2008, as you might know, is The Dark Knight, followed by Iron Man, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Hancock, and Wall-E.
Good year.
2008 is a big year. It's a kind of, I think you go back to 2008, there's a lot of cool stuff. And recently we have talked about Quantum of Solace that came out that year. We have talked about Iron Man in the past, and you guys have already reviewed The Dark Knight as well. I wasn't in that one, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm sure we will eventually make our way into 2008 again.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. I'm sure that we will. Okay, well, it's special Christmas. Do you want to run the letterbox game for your own movie, or do you want to be a part of guessing it?
I'll do both.
Oh,
I will guess, and then I will pull up letterbox.
Okay,
I'll be really
perfect.
strategic about it.
Fair enough.
Go ahead and throw your guess out first, then, David.
So I'm gonna guess it's like a 2.2.
Okay.
That's
2.5.
I think it's lower. I'm gonna go with a straight 2. I think.
Straight 2.
I think
Josh, what do you think?
2.6.
2.6. So 2.0 from Garrett, 2.5 from Andrew, 2.2 from me. Josh is 2.6. Basically anything, yeah. All right. So we have a winner who got it exactly right. That winner is Christmas theme himself. Andrew wins this week. It is 2.5 on the score of Letterboxd. Wow. So there we have it. Andrew, a big win for Andrew. Hasn't won a lot this year. So 2.5. 2.5 is not the highest rating anybody could have. Let me see here. We've got some reviews. Here's a 1.5 star review that says an example of how a great cast doesn't always cover the fact that a movie is miserable. Here's a 5-star review. Every Christmas I watched this film with my family. Despite COVID preventing me from watching this with my family, I still picked up my own copy and continued the tradition.
Wow, that is dedication.
A tradition can add to the level of enjoyment.
And then also 2.5 stars. What a champ Robert Duvall is. Boys, I won't speak ill of your mother on Christmas, but she's a common street whore. That's somebody else's review. I love when the reviews are just a quote from the movie.
Yes.
So Andrew's a big win. I'll have to add that to his total, which I need to go back and do.
Still in the single digits, boys.
I got to go back and add up. Like everything we've done since October.
What do we got?
Well,
This
you know
gets a
that
1.5 from me. This movie is not good, but it is entertaining.
It's a 2.
Yikes. And Garrett gave it a 1.5, and I thought I was going to go the lowest at 2. I'll still say a 2, I guess. I'll still say a 2.
Okay, wow. Well, I'm gonna match Letterboxd and say 2.5 for me because it is okay.
I think that's fine. I think all of our scores are good there.
They can't all be good.
No.
No, you can't have winners every time.
They
All
can't.
right. Well, our average is a 2. I just did the math real quick.
Okay. Cool.
Average is out to an even 2.
This time we did not match Letterboxd. We went a little lower. That happens sometimes. Usually we go higher, if anything.
Yeah.
So we got a few minutes left. Do we want to announce the next movie we're doing, or do we want to?
Yeah.
Discuss
I mean, I
something
guess
else?
if we know, I'm
Yeah.
still
Well,
trying to figure it out.
Andrew went ahead and revealed his to us, so I say we do his next.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us what we're doing, Andrew?
The next movie we're doing is Claws.
Claws.
Pause. Netflix.
From, Yes, Netflix. The
Yeah.
animated movie that came out, I think, in 2019.
Academy Award nominated.
Yes,
for Best
very,
Animated Film.
very well received. So I'm excited to. I watched it when it came out.
Me too.
It's very good.
And I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to revisiting it now and talking about it for the show. So if you have time, watch Klaus on Netflix.
I thought it was Klaus.
I
but
thought it was
don't know.
Klaus as well, but
Yeah,
you know,
maybe.
I mean, I look at it and it looks like Claus, like Santa
Yeah,
Claus.
well,
So that's just how I'm pronouncing it. I could be wrong.
you could.
I
be.
could be wrong.
The English
And if I am
language
wrong,
is
I
no
hope I
match
get
for you.
corrected.
And Josh, before we go, I want to say something real quick. So you showed us our Spotify the wrapped
Yeah,
data for so many sequels,
yeah.
and it shows we have people out there listening, and we just want to thank you for listening to us all year. We had listener growth, which is cool.
Listener growth.
Yep.
20 countries. Hello to all those people. I don't know what countries they are. So
Yeah, but if you're not smashing that subscribe, what are you doing?
Yeah, please, if you're not already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, and let us know. Let us know. What do you want to see? What do you want to hear? What do you want us to review?
yes. Let us know on social media. And
Dancing Andrew's back.
yes. Oops. Oh no, what happened? That's a little treat for the YouTube audience. Okay. We'll be back next week with another Christmas review. Claus on Netflix or Klaus. Find us online, somanysequels.com. Subscribe and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.